Morning, everybody. Welcome to Recovery Concepts Daily Recovery Snack. I'm Chris, and I'm shooting this morning's video out and about a little bit, not at home, so this is going to be, bear with me. If this don't turn out too good, I'm out of my element a little bit, doing the same thing, but I'm doing it from a hotel room. Hope this finds everybody good. I am tired. Long flight yesterday, and time change is still seeping in a little bit, but we're going to do the best that we can do. So bear with me. And we'll do the best we know how to do. So, let's see. What did I say? The 11th, Saturday the 11th. April 11th. I hope this finds everybody well. I think I forgot to mention that. And anyway, I'm still a little quirky. Like I said, there's a long flight to get me. So, either or. Here we go, man. Let's dive in. A quote from Henry David Thoreau. It is as hard to see oneself as it is to look backward without turning around. Getting to know ourselves is hard work. We spent years in our addiction trying not to see what was really going on with us. Now we have a new way to see things. We understand that we have a disease that tries to fool us and makes fools of us. But we can change the foolishness by facing the disease. We now face it, and we do what we need to do every day to stay in recovery. To get to know ourselves and face our disease, we ask our sponsor and our recovery friends to give us feedback. We tell them about everything that goes on in our lives so that they can get to know us well. Then they can help us get to know ourselves. This could be very self-centered, except for one thing. We do the same for them. That's how we help each other to learn to act like decent and loving human beings that we want to be. Prayer for the day. Higher power, help me pay attention to myself and my friends in recovery. Help me give and accept feedback. Today's action, I will think of one behavior I do that I want input on. I will call 2 of my recovery friends and ask them about how they see me when I do this behavior and how they think it affects my recovery. All right. Immediately what jumps out to me is we understand that we have a disease that tries to fool us and makes fools of us. And the fact that we're trying to get to know ourselves and that it's hard work. This disease turned me, my take on that is this disease turned me into somebody that I was never intended to be the Chris that my disease made me. My direct decisions and behaviors created a person that I do not believe was anybody's idea from conception or the thought of Chris, further back or whatever. Nobody had the idea that he would become who I became. Nobody had thought, that, I don't know, you can get real deep on that and, say that my higher power, knew the whole story the whole time. I guess that could be true. I'm assuming that could be true. I'm kind of rambling a little bit. That's an odd place, and I don't know really how to walk through there that well. But I know addiction made me somebody that I didn't want to be. I didn't understand how I ended up in some of the situations that I did. And I never intended to be the person that it turned me into. I never woke up one day in my life twisting my handlebar mustache thinking, man, I can't wait to go out and piss everybody off today and screw my damn life up, man. That's what I'm going to do today, man. That's my intent, man. Never one day in my life did I ever do that. But sure enough, when I put alcohol and drugs in me, that was always a possibility. That was always a possibility. I talk about never going to jail one time sober. Not one time. I've been to jail a couple of times, unfortunately, is what it is. But not one time did I go sober. Not once. And not every time that I used did I go. It was just like rolling the dice, I guess. You just never knew. You never knew what it was going to turn into. And I think that's addiction, because on the days I got myself in trouble or found myself in precarious situations, that were extremely uncomfortable. I did not want to be in. If I would have known that that was going to happen that day, I wouldn't have done some of the things that I did previously. I wouldn't have, maybe I would have drank some beer instead of some liquor. Maybe I would have done a little bit of an easier, a smoothing recreational drug than some of the harder stuff or whatever. But that's addiction. You don't know when this stuff's going to happen. So the trick is just to keep it out of your body and your mind as best you can on a daily basis. And the recovery community, it talks about, call and ask a friend and talk to them or whatever. That keeps me balanced out, man. When I became who I was and I ran around the circles that I was in during active addiction, hell, we were all normal. That was normal. It was normal. To recreate and refine and understand who Chris was supposed to be. I couldn't hang out with old school cats doing old school stuff except drugs and alcohol and expect to turn in to anything that was, hopeful and empathetic and caring and self-loving and, a better version of me. I couldn't do it. I had to get around people that were doing different things, and I had to change my normal, man. And I didn't know quite how to do that. When you do something for 30 years, I'll speak on me. When you do something for 30 years, the aspects of normal, man, you have the ability to change them, but you got to do that. That's an ability. For me, it wasn't something that just happened like the clouds moved in or something, man. I had to continually do some things that were abnormal for me for them to become normal, and that took time. And I had to be around people that were doing the things that I wanted to do for me to understand and start learning, how they've changed their lives and apply some of those skills and some of those tools to my life to help me to change mine. But hell, I was scared to death of who I might even become, I didn't know. It was long enough I didn't know who I'd be, man. I didn't know who I was. That's hard when you're a 40-year-old man. Have absolutely no clue. You tear alcohol and drugs out of their lives, or the pre-gaming of alcohol and drugs, getting alcohol and drugs, using alcohol and drugs, the aftermath of alcohol and drugs. You tear all of that associated out of somebody's life, man, and I had a gaping, wide, dark hole of time that I had no idea what to put in, and I didn't even know who I was or what I liked. But I believe that that's part of the work you got to put in. And sitting where I'm sitting today, it's worth the journey and the effort, and sometimes the discomfort and pain, to get there. It's just part of my recovery. Part of my recovery was doing some uncomfortable things, but I had a support group that I hung around that helped me, and I did the things that was suggested and asked of me to try to produce, something different. And today, I'm far from perfect, but I love this version so much, much, much more than what I used to. I hope that doesn't sound arrogant, but if it does, it does. It's not the way that I mean it. I just appreciate more about who I am today. I feel like I'm of more use to others, and I'm a much more decent human, generally speaking, than I used to be. And that's not a bad way to wake up in the morning, even if you are jet lagged. I'm rambling. Y'all take good care of yourselves. We're going to do this every day best I can, man, Lord willing, and try not to skip no beats. So the blurb, share, subscribe, like, tell a friend, whatever, trying to get this built up a little bit. Really glad that you joined me, and come on back tomorrow, and Lord willing, we'll do it again, man. Have a blessed day. Stay safe. Have fun out there, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.